What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Guitar Hour. This is 178. We are back, or I am back. I wasn't here the last week, but we've kind of got two in a row. Hopefully, you might see this on video. How are we doing, boys?
Very good. Right. Feeling very prolific. Right. 2 in 2 weeks.
For the non-viewers, who's here, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
For the audio only.
yeah, exactly. For you audio povos. My name is Dan Smith. I am joined by Mr. David Beebe.
Oh, well, hello.
And Mr. Tom Quayle.
Howdy.
No Jake tonight. Is he on a show? I think he's otherwise engaged. But you might have seen him do a little live stream last night, which we may mention, or he may mention next time he's on. So, how are we doing, boys?
Yeah, very good, as I say. Yeah, feeling prolific.
It's been
prolific.
Two in a row.
2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
It's been a week of...
It was quite a ranty one last week.
Taking L's from me and Tom this week.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. But I wasn't here last week and I haven't listened to it yet, so...
Well, it was quite a ranty one, and I think we might be ranting even more in this one. Look at Tom's face.
Look at Tom, look at him. Oh,
I'm ready.
I'm ready
with
to rage.
British Bulldog.
It was a good though. I mean, we'd not done one in ages, and I think we had a good session last week. It was a nice catch up, and got to some meaty stuff, I think. I'm doing all right. As you can see, I'm back in the location coincidentally, of the Time Horse.
The Temple of the Time Horse. Like Indiana Jones.
It's like General Zod. You've been banished to the Time Horse zone.
But I don't have a guitar with me, so I haven't got. Otherwise, it would have been fun to actually bring the pedal. But I'm just out, a quick in and out to the workshop, Fibonacci workshop, and doing some planning for NAMM next January, and testing some things out.
So things coming.
It's just a fleeting visit. Other than that, since last week, what have I done? Not very much. A couple of full-on horrendous corporate gigs where, it's like set up at 3 and then not perform until 10.
So, not perform until the Wednesday after.
But I presume good corporate bank being made.
Oh, it's good. It's very, very good corporate bank.
There we go.
Yes, but it's still just brutal. I mean, I just take my laptop and just do work in between and just. But yeah, it's just so. And I think the Saturday one as well was a setup at 3, and I didn't get in until 3 in the morning. So it was like a 12-hour. Thankfully, it was only in Leeds, so it's just this local city centre gig. But yeah,
my
and the thing is, I can't. You think obviously we'll go home in between, of course, but the way it's set up and the way the parking situation is and getting in and out, it's just be even more hassle and more ball ache. So just set up shop and do some editing and some work on solo stuff.
Get your screen time ratio up for your screen time. Your screen time report. Mine's been horrific recently. I've been embarrassed every time it comes up. It's like 8 hours a day of screen time. Oh dear, not good.
Yeah. So
anyway.
Dan, what's your life been like since we last spoke on Podland?
Last week was horrendous, man. I've been moonlighting on bass. That's what I've been doing. That's my stories.
That was it.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. Yeah,
episode. You said during the bass hour.
Yeah, exactly. New podcast.
I've been mashing the big strings, as Ben Ella would say. I was doing that. I was playing for my mate's got this. It's kind of genius, actually. He's got this sort of indie rock. They call the rock and soulers, and it's basically like indie rock and soul, as the title suggests, kind of function stuff. And obviously, you've got all these people that are sort of, 30s, mid-30s getting married now, that are well in that bracket of Arctic Monkeys and, Kings of Leon and stuff. So just doing that on bass. It's great getting paid a wedding fee to play Blitzkrieg Bop. Just it's just fucking sick. Doing that. It's been interesting, actually. There's some interesting stuff there with, obviously, the way we think about things, like the interval thing. That lends itself pretty nicely to bass. Because if you're on a G chord and you know where all the notes are of a G chord and what's available to you, obviously it doesn't make you instantly a great bass player, but all your answers are kind of there. So if you forget something, as long as you know what the chord is, you're pretty good.
I always find with bass or anything that's not got 6 strings, same thing on a 7-string guitar, low, or woe betide anybody an 8-string guitar, that it's really hard to visualize because your setup relies on... I always end up reverting back to the kind of low E string octave thing because...
Really?
Yeah, because I find it really hard to visualize when the highest string is different to what it would normally be on a 6-string. And so I have to reprogram my brain just from a visual landscape perspective. Same thing with the 7-string. I find it really difficult to visualize on a 7-string. And I know that Alex Hutchins has talked about this as well because he used to, I don't think he does anymore because he's got used to it, but there was a period where he used a different coloured string for the B string to give him that visual reference point of, it's a 6-string and there's another string on here.
Yeah. To be fair, if I ever snap a string, that does throw me visually.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
I mean, for the visual people, but it's. I've actually got this dirty 5-string Schecter bass.
Wow.
So it's got a low B on it, so that throws you a bit as well. But it is really nice to have that low fifth below, like if you're playing a G, you know, to get like a low D. That's kind of nice.
Sorry for the geeky question. It is the guitar hour after all. What are you running the big guitar into?
Well, because I know nothing about bass, I was just using in-ear monitors and a little Line 6 head that was provided by them. So I just turned up with my 5-string bass and just did the business. That was it.
It's funny, actually. I mean, this is probably absolute sacrilege if we were on the bass hour, but I feel like you can get away with a lot more on bass.
Well, you know what? I thought
that,
but it's not the case. I feel like you need to know what you're doing. You definitely need to be more on it with things like structures.
But I think bass sounds awesome DI'd, whereas guitar sounds horrific
I see.
DI'd.
Yeah. Sonic
I mean tonally.
Yeah.
I mean tonally.
Right, yeah. Sorry, I thought
Just
you meant
from
like
a tonal
actual
perspective.
I don't mean playing. I
play-wise.
mean, I find playing bass incredibly difficult. But yeah, tonally, like I plug it into the DIs on my audio interface, it sounds awesome straight away.
I'm into it, man. Their bass player actually is teaches at Leeds College in Nova Scotia and that. It's called Sam.
Nice.
And I think he's the MD for Cinematic Orchestra, I believe.
Nice. That's cool.
So I think he's going away in like some sort of world tour next year, which means I might get more bass gigs. I might be
or he might just change his mind and you get the world tour. Who knows?
Whoa.
That'd be amazing.
So I agreed to a gig for doing that last week on a Wednesday because, if I'm free, I'll just go, yeah, sure. And then that was like back to back between 2 days of teaching. So I got in here after teaching. I had 20 minutes to get out and ready, and then drive 2 hours to this gig near Durham. Got in at 2:30. Had to get up at 6:30. Oof. And then Friday slept in and missed my alarms and woke up to a phone call, basically from my boss, just going, "Hello."
Oh, you gave me, when you sent that message, you gave me like chills down my spine just thinking that is just horrible, really.
But the thing is, I woke up, didn't know where I was, and my first instinct was to be like, shh. So I put the phone down without answering it.
Oh no. Nightmare fuel.
And then the thing is, I probably don't need to get up at 6:30, but the reason I get up earlier than I need to is because I know it takes me like an hour to like wind up. I'm not really like a get up and instantly functional. I've got I kind of need to ramp up
I've done some of those in the past. Just wake up and straight into.
I hate it, man. I hate it. It's
horrible,
so bad.
But yeah.
But yeah, that and then just gigging and stuff. Really, I had a proper go at our drummer at weekend. That was pretty sick. Technically, it was my fault, but
did you tear him a new one?
Well. Long. It's basically, it was about some counting that was taking too long, and I thought it was really awkward. It was like, Pete finishes talking, and it's a slow song, and it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's long. If you're a DJ and there's that amount of silence, you're getting sacked. So I said, just give me a 3, 4. You don't need to do all that. Anyway, playing this gig, and the tune I was on lap steel, and one of the legs was a bit wobbly. So at the end of the song, I was fixing the leg. And then got up to see what the next song was on the set list, and it was this one. And Stu had already made this like big deal about the counting. I think he thought it was some sort of criticism I was making against him, and it was like, mate, if you can't tell that amount of silence in the middle of a show is bad, you shouldn't be on stage. I didn't say that.
You've said it now.
Anyway, the thing that happened is I've got an A/B switcher for the steel and the guitar, and because I was pissing about with the leg, and then I looked round and Stu's kind of tapping at me, I forgot to switch it back to guitar. So Stu goes 3, 4, and I did play on the 1, I did play
But
on the
nothing
one.
happened.
But obviously nothing came out. And then he's like, "Wait," like on the drums, like he's right about the counting. And I was raging, fucking livid. So yeah, but that's it. That's my stories. That's what I got.
Oh, you're giving me even more nightmare fuel there. Well, I've had an annoying week more than anything else. Not
a pricey week, haven't you?
Really expensive week, and this is why it's annoying, because normally I love spending money. I adore it. It's one of my favourite things. But I've had one of those weeks where very unexciting bits of gear that are quite expensive have all failed at the same time. But I have to admit, luckily, they failed at quite opportune moments as opposed to in the middle of some work. So I've shot a lot of videos this week, product demo stuff, which is relevant for today's discussion. We'll get into that later. But yeah, unfortunately, my BB and I, we use these Sony cameras. Danny, you're on Sony cameras now. Oh no, you're using the Panasonic
Still
stuff.
Still a G7.
Hey, it's good. They're great cameras. But without getting too geeky about camera stuff again, because we've done that before, the Sonys have this thing where the screens don't flip out. So it's really useful to have a monitor that records at the same time. So a big screen that you put a hard drive in and it records. It's really convenient, really easy for editing as well. But they're flipping expensive. And one of those died, so I had to buy a new one. And it was one of those scenarios where they've released a new model that's got some new features that are completely irrelevant and useless to me. They've painted it gold instead of black, and they're charging 300 quid more.
Because it's made out of real gold.
So that, yeah, exactly. So that was painful. And then, unfortunately, last night, after a very long video shoot during the day, I was having a meeting with our business partner, BB's and my business partner, and I smelled the worst smell that any sort of tech person can possibly smell, which is burning, wiry, plasticky smell. And unfortunately, my 8-channel preamp had died, which again is quite expensive. So I've had to spend like well over $1,000 on a new preamp as well, which is just painful.
Well, at least you didn't smell toast.
Yeah, I've done that before and thought I was having a good old stroke, but no. In this case, it was just burning wires. But yeah, it's just a pain in the bum because they're not exciting purchases. So
it's like a gearbox or a clutch.
Yeah, I'd rather have bought a new graphics card or a new computer or whatever. You know, that's more exciting. But no, it's not to be, unfortunately. So there we go. That was my week. But I have had a fun week because I've been using some new gear that you guys will find out about. There's something coming out tomorrow morning, which was quite cool. And I got to mic up my hand-wired by me Plexi that I built last year. Crank it really loud and whoa, it sounded incredible. Mic'd up in stereo, absolutely awesome. So you guys will get to hear that tomorrow morning.
Have you signed your own amp on the inside?
I should have done, but no, I haven't. No.
Oh.
I do remember though. We never got to talk about it on the podcast much, but go on.
You posted a clip of that mic'd up. Did you?
To you guys, yeah.
To us in the Slack. So I'm thinking, we have heard. It sounded amazing.
Yeah, the amp sounds amazing.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I built it with the guidance of Bronzy, Dave Bronze, last year in the summer.
Oh, what a ledge.
And that was awesome. And it sounds amazing, but it was quite a scary / hilarious fun moment when Bronzy turned it on for the first time and was poking a chopstick around to make sure it worked and didn't die. But it was fine. It all worked. So,
man. I can imagine the papers, man. Leeds men in shed die.
With a chopstick.
Making boutique amp.
With a chopstick.
Because Bronzy has actually electrocuted himself in front of me whilst working on one of my amps before. So I wasn't filled with confidence, I must admit, but he was fine. He still lives. He's not entered the realm of Time Horse
more
yet.
lives than the cat, Bronzy, I think.
Yeah, he certainly has.
It's like a Bradford Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns.
Bradford Michelle Pfeiffer.
A little bit hairier than Michelle.
That's him, John.
Hey man, on the subject of toast, right? I saw this week.
Okay.
Right, and I don't know if this is a thing, and I don't know if it works, and I'm not going to try it because it's. I saw this thing called Focus Toast. Have you seen this? It's like an Instagram thing. It's basically like a little happy, sort of cute, sort of toaster thing, and the toaster's coming out of it. It's got a face on it, and it's called Focus Toast. And what you're supposed to do is put it on your desk, and it's got a light on it. And when you switch it on, that means it's time to work. It's time to focus. And then you switch it off when you're going for a break. And I don't know if it's supposed to psychologically program you to be well, the toast is on, I better do some work.
Yeah, but they make free apps for that, for your phone.
Yeah, but this is cute.
Why do you need focus
Thomas.
toast?
So it's like Pomodoro
What's the benefit
toast. Is it
Yeah, what's the
like-
benefit of the toast?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you
So
could
I
have your-
presume you've
you know,
ordered one.
Could have your focus toast and a little like tomato egg timer thing, or tomato timer, I guess.
Okay,
But yeah,
nice.
I thought I'd mention that. I
feel
might
like
get
we've
one and use
wasted-
it for practice.
I feel like we've wasted our efforts making solo, baby. We could have just made focus toast.
Focus toast.
Focus toast. Yeah.
Made a packet.
Let's do some plugging while we're on the topic of things. So Jake's not here, but he has just released a book. So he's not here to plug it on the episode, so we'll do it for him. It's his 201 exercises for lead guitar. Is that the title of it? So I should have pulled it up. But he's releasing it with Guitar Vivo and JTC collaboration. He alluded to it. Did he mention it on the stream last week?
Yeah.
He didn't, obviously.
No, he
because
alluded to
couldn't
it.
have
No,
done.
he didn't. Yeah, it wasn't out.
Yeah, he alluded to it last time, but it is now out. He did a live stream to promote it and launch it yesterday. And yeah, I'll, if I remember, because I don't do this as often now, but I'll link in show notes to it. So if anyone wants to go and support Jake on his new endeavours as a published author, that's you can do so. And yeah, seems very proud of it, and it's a cool thing. So just if you one of you guys got the, I can't do it because I'm right now, but if you got the actual title of what it is, just Dan, could one of you
I
just
can look
Google
it
so
up.
I can.
Yeah, I was going to say it won't take long to look up. Are you doing that, Dan?
Yeah, man. Yeah, 201 lead guitar exercises. The ultimate
Oh, no,
guitar
different one,
practice
different
toolkit.
Oh, yes, it is
Yeah, I
that one.
wasn't
Then.
far
Practice
off.
toolkit.
Yeah. How and what to practice, basically.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I love that when I love that when you go to the Amazon page for Jake, it's Doctor.
Yeah.
So it's Dr. Jake Wilson. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, nice. Good luck with it, Jake.
Anybody got anything else to plug or sell or while we're here?
Not at
No,
the moment.
I'm monetized on YouTube now. That's kind of
Goodness,
exciting.
congratulations,
Go and
sir.
watch go and watch Dan's videos, make him some dollar.
Yeah. Although I've got a video in the works, but I haven't finished it yet. It's I need focus toast. That's what I need, obviously.
That's the reason why I don't get anything done, for sure.
Yeah, man. Gotta get the toast.
Focus toast.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, it was just like a sort of introduction to the altered scale thing, and like perhaps a slightly healthier way of thinking about it rather than just shooting off the altered scale flare. But that'll be out at some point. But other than that,
Should we do
nothing,
like
mate.
should we do an offshoot like productivity poppadom or something? Let's just rip the idea off and make our own version.
it's got a rhyme though. It's got a rhyme, sort of. It's got a half rhyme.
Focus toast.
Focus toast.
Focus toasters.
It's
Sort
got
of
a
rhymes.
It's got a thing to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, but this is like, it's alliteration. It's even better. It's more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, stupid idea.
I think
Maybe we should move on from bread items.
Oh, speaking of food and stuff, I woke up at 3 a.m. I'm not really drinking. I think I mentioned last time I'm just not drinking beer, and I haven't been to the whiskey place. It's closed, so I haven't been drinking. But I woke up at 3 a.m. like bolt upright and ran through the dock to the loo and just power chunded for 5 minutes straight, and then just like shivers and everything. Went back to bed. And I was absolutely fine. So I'm pretty sure I had some like dodgy shawarma or something yesterday. But
Have you been finding places to eat on your own?
Yeah, I know. There's loads of places that I know around here now that's really good. And I mean, so I did have a shawarma from an unknown kebab thing walking yesterday.
unknown
So maybe
shawarma.
that was it.
Or at least there weren't any lingering effects.
Great
It was
band.
instantaneous and then done.
But it was definitely like, okay, this is just, it needs to come out. And then I was fine. Because like, when you feel ill from drinking and that, it lingers. And but no, I've not been
Certainly
drinking. It's interesting. I've not been ill in that sense for a little while. Well, maybe since the monastery trip in Nepal. And that was another whole different thing together. But yeah, so I thought this might not happen today, because as I was throwing up, I was thinking, oh, I'm really ill. But no, it's like 20 minutes later, I was snoozing the sleep again and absolutely fine today.
Good.
But
Tactical.
that's just all the food talk stuff reminded me, because yeah, got the So the pitta shawarma remnants regurged.
The Budapest runs.
Oh. Should we power on to a sort of main-ish topic?
Main-ish topic, yeah. Who wants to? Well, I guess shall I bring it? Shall I?
Feel free, yeah,
off?
absolutely, yeah. It's probably best if I don't.
We'll just see. I'll just get you wound up in your cage.
Oh, I've gone all out of focus. What's happened?
There
we go.
So, I guess the theme of this is sort of like just taking the lay of the land and just sort of talking about the current state of like gear on guitar, music gear, reviews and demos, adverts, things on YouTube, and maybe some of our thoughts on that. And I don't think we should dwell too long on particular instances, but there are two things over the last sort of 6 months that have sort of kicked this off. And we've not really commented on it because we've been away in the podcast. One was the Anderton's victory thing, and then there's a little while ago, and there's something else going on currently with a Kickstarter product. And so these two things are not exactly the same. Well, they're quite different, but it all comes under this banner of like the idea of what's the sort of responsible, safe way to be talking about gear on YouTube when you're being paid for it or not. And so, yeah, this is what I think obviously I've not done tons of this. I've dabbled a little bit, but obviously, and Tom, you've done it a lot more in the past, and you still do some things now. But I just thought it'd be interesting for us to have a bit of a rant about where we see it, what's kind of right about the current state of things, and we think, Phil, and then what's wrong. And we may disagree on some of the specifics. Yeah. I remember when it was the Victor Anderson thing, Tom and I were quite a little bit disagreement on that.
No, of course. I want to make it really clear at the start that I'll probably do a little bit of ranting here, but none of it is aimed personally at anybody at all. It's aimed at the kind of wider ethos of the situation and how I feel generally about the wider view of this. So none of this is directed at anybody in particular. Just
not
want to point
individuals.
that out. No, we're not doing that. That's not fair.
This is the broader idea of like why maybe just picking apart like the way we do on these kind of long form discussion things. We're trying to pick at the meat of why there is maybe some of it. There is a bit of a problem, and I think it is a problem.
Yeah. The thing for me, so if I set some context here, not set the ball rolling particularly on the discussion, but set the context here.
Yeah, context, yeah.
Guitar players are currently dealing with a problem that was dealt with in the tech industry probably 10 years ago on YouTube. And I guess that's the nature of the way that the whole product side of the guitar industry is obviously a much smaller industry than the tech industry, and the budgets are vastly smaller. And so it's taken guitar players a while to really get to the levels of production and levels of infamy and fame in terms of YouTubers and influence in the sphere, in the industry that's been present in the tech industry for at least 10 years. So in the tech industry, you've got you guys like your Linus Tech Tips, your Jay's 2 Cents. You know, Dan and I have talked about all these guys before. We all watched these guys.
Bitwit, love Bitwit.
Yeah, Bitwit, all these guys, they've been dealing with Marcus Brownlee, all of these guys, they've been dealing with this problem for over 10 years. And now guitar players are catching up. And over the last, I'd say probably a year to 2 years, maybe slightly less, the guitar YouTube community has become obsessed with this idea of integrity when it comes to reviews and demos. And it's been interesting watching it all play out in different contexts. So the Andertons thing is a very different context to me to YouTubers doing demos and reviews. You know, that's a different thing, you know, but maybe related slightly, but they are slightly different. But it's all part of this overarching concept of integrity and what's best for viewers and consumers of products, what's honest and what's, you know, a real representation. Do viewers know what's going on as far as, is it an advertisement, is it a review, is it a demo, so on and so forth. And the guitar YouTube community has got its knickers in a big old knot about this. And in many ways, in my opinion, it's swung so far in the opposite direction to where it was before that now we've got quite a weird situation, if you ask me, where people are, as we say in the UK, they've got it arse about tit. That's a horrible phrase, but they've got it the wrong way round, in my opinion. They've gone too far in the other direction, and I think it's all got very confused, very, very confused.
So maybe if we just sort of tease apart those three things that you just mentioned then, because this is how the context these fall in. You have you have people doing they might call a review, or it might be a demo, and the confusion or conflation around those two things, and then advert, I suppose, and how. So some of this comes down to definitions of what it is you're doing, and then ultimately, are you being paid for it or not? For that specific thing.
For me, this is kind of what I mean about this all becoming very twisted and confused, and people getting very misaligned with what they're doing and what they're saying they're doing, but even, in my opinion, misunderstanding what a demo and review are fundamentally. So I'm going to lay out my viewpoint on what these two things are. So in my view, if you take money for anything, you are doing a promotional demo, which is an advert. Doesn't matter whether you say you're doing if you do the spiel at the beginning, this has become very common in the music industry. You won't see this in the tech industry anymore. People don't do this anymore. But in guitar in particular, and somewhat in the synth world, because I've got into this world, you'll hear a spiel at the beginning of a video, which is, this product has been something along the lines of, this product has been sent to me by the company. Maybe the person says, I got a discount on this product, but all my thoughts are my own. They haven't told me what to say, and they don't get to see the video before it launches. That's generally some form of patter or spiel at the beginning of the video. Okay, so I just don't think you need all of that at the beginning, because the first statement that was made was along the lines of, you've taken some form of payment from the company. If you take any form of payment, you are now intrinsically linked to the company. And I'll try and explain more about why I feel this way. You now are not doing an impartial review, even if you say you are and you think you are, because any company who gives you money is expecting that you will not say bad things about that company. And you only have to think about the way our capitalism works, the nature of corporatism in this country. If you or I, running Trio Software, paid a YouTuber, let's say £500 to £1,000, I don't know, I'm just plucking that figure out my bottom, to do a review, to do a video, forget review, demo, just to do a video, we are shooting ourselves in the foot as a business if we give that money to somebody and just say, feel free to do we wouldn't say this, but this is the unsaid thing, feel free to do a terrible review of our product and absolutely shit on it. I would not give that money to somebody who I thought would do a terrible video of that product and would, I would want to be clear that this is a demo. It's a promotional demo. It's for promotional advertisement perspective. If somebody wants to do a review, an completely impartial review of that product, then they should buy the product themselves and fund their YouTube channel some other way. And one of the only people who I know who does this properly is Cordy. He either buys all of the products that he gets or he borrows them from friends. He doesn't take...
companies will send him the product.
Yeah. Or that is fine, obviously.
It doesn't. So I think there is a third thing there that you perhaps...
Yeah, sorry, you're right. There's a third thing.
Third option, where I think you could you could be doing a review if a company has sent it to you, you don't get to keep it.
But I did caveat by saying that if you take money of any form, so you take a free product that you get to keep, or you get a discount on a product, or you. But the one that really. Sorry, go on, Beebs.
Well, my only disagreement with this would be, and I do, for the broad strokes there, agree with everything you said. But the only disagreement would be is if the person making the content or the channel or whatever was to, in the negotiations, say, and have a contract and have in writing and say, look, these are the terms. And then we settle this, so we agree a fee, we agree what it is. And then you to say like, and the company has to agree to this as well, of course. And they can choose not to. But if you're very clear about this is what I do, and then it's very transparent to your audience and the viewers. Now, I think agree with you that it would be mad for a business to agree to that. And I think maybe, is it Henning that does something along these lines? I think he said in the past about, that the company has to agree that he will, potentially say bad things. I think it's crazy. And I do think it's crazy that any business would do that. It doesn't make any sense at all, which really is the kind of weird thing in this latest event that's kind of flared up that's sort of has really brought it home to me, is that a lot of people feels like they have a right to be paid money to do reviews. And that I can't really, because it doesn't quite make any sense, like why a company would do that.
Exactly. So why, if we think about...
They pay you to do an advert, pay you to do a demonstration, but why would they pay you to do a...
Is that even a thing? Does that exist, a paid review?
Yes, absolutely.
I think
absolutely.
People are trying to make it exist.
Right.
This is what I mean about this kind of, again, to use this phrase, ass about tit thing, where it's gone too far the other way. Why do companies want their products on YouTube channels? Because print media has died. So the new form of getting your product out there, what do you now see the same thing in the guitar industry that you used to see, or still, obviously you still do, in the tech industry, where on day one, in fact, you're going to see this as this podcast is being recorded tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. You're going to see a video that I've done launch alongside, I can't say what the product is. Actually, I can, because this is going to have gone out. It won't be going out tomorrow, will it? So I can say what it is, I presume.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not going out.
So there's this product, the Boss RV200, comes out tomorrow at 8 a.m. And Boss are, I've done a video for them and I've been paid for the video. It's a product demo for promotional purposes. And I say as much in the video. It actually says in text. It says, this is not, in capital letters, a review. It's a promotional demo. And then there's a spiel under. I don't say anything in the video. Underneath, I tick the box that says it's promotional content on YouTube. And underneath, in the video description, it says, Boss sent me this. I've been doing this for a while now. Boss sent me this pedal for free, not to keep, but as a loan. They loaned me the pedal for the video, and they paid me for the video. This is not a product review. It is a promotional demo to help Boss promote this product. Okay. Now, as the viewer, you can still get a huge amount out of that video. You can hear how it sounds in a certain context. You can learn a lot about the product, but it's fulfilling the same role as their own promotional videos are. Now, why do they want this? Because I have 100 and however many thousand subscribers on my YouTube channel who will see that video. Why would Boss pay somebody to do an impartial review? Now, again, the term here is pay the influencer to do a review of a product where they might say it's shit. Forget ethics at this point, which are important, obviously. That's just poor business practice. It's terrible business practice. So the idea that people who are doing impartial reviews should expect to be paid by a company to do them, to me, makes no sense whatsoever. If you want, again, I'm getting a little bit ranty here and it's not aimed at anybody in particular, and I might be wrong, but how I feel about it is, and I run a business, if you want to do really genuinely impartial reviews and say all that spiel at the beginning about how I don't get told what to say, I can say whatever I want, and the reviews that you see on this channel can genuinely inform your buying as a consumer, so you will get an honest appraisal of whether this is good for you, which generally is complete nonsense anyway, because what's good for you is not necessarily good for anybody else, then you should fund your YouTube channel a different way, not from the company whose products you're reviewing. That is not how print media ever worked. Print media, you never got paid for the review. Now, this is also ethically very dodgy in of itself, but you got paid for advertising. But that's key. You got paid for the advertising, not for the actual review, which was supposedly impartial. But of course, it never
everything's
was.
4 stars or 4 or 5 stars.
Exactly. That's exactly how it always worked at Guitar Interactive magazine. However, we caveated that by I had numerous occasions at Guitar Interactive magazine where we had products that were bad, and I refused to review them because what's the point? It's terrible. I could only say terrible things about it, and I just don't see the point. It's not good for me. It's not good for the company. And so if it doesn't get featured in the magazine, we're not going to influence anyone to buy it. And therefore, we've not committed anything unethical by not reviewing it. So
yeah,
because we're not promoting it to anybody, we're not showing it, we're not featuring it at all. So we're not crossing any lines of, ethical issues there, in my opinion.
I do think people can still make the choice to have their own terms that a company has to agree to or not, and then they can have that relationship with their audience, and the audience, if the audience knows that that's what's going on. But it still wouldn't be the default. It wouldn't be the assumption for any new viewer. It wouldn't be. I think it's an uphill battle to win trust and to win and to seem like you have integrity if you're doing that. Not to say it's perhaps impossible, but so much of this could be. It could be kind of alleviated if just having things in writing, having contracts drawn up that are I mean, people will often sign NDAs for all this stuff, and that's come from the company's side of it. Well, if somebody decides that they deserve and have the right to be paid to do honest, impartial reviews from the company, then they should have that, put that to the company and say, well, let's agree to this formally as a contract.
But you should. I'm not saying people aren't aware of this, but you should also be aware that that is not why this company is approaching you to do. If you've approached the company, that's different. But that company is not approaching you to do a review. I'm doing the rabbit ears. A review because
now I can see companies taking the role, like sending out, bulk sending out freebies to very popular, very influential people as a write-off, and to say, here, check this out, make a video if you like. Now, again, maybe I'm not sure where. I mean, it'd be interesting to know what you think there, but that happens a lot. There's not there's ostensibly no payment to make a video, no agreement to actually make a video at all. But the product is just a write-off, sent out to a popular YouTuber that may or may not make a video. What would your opinion be on that then?
What do you mean then? Do you mean
let's say then somebody receives the latest modeler or whatever, and for free from company X, and thinks it's okay, decides to make a video on it, but then points out a whole bunch of bad points as well. How would you kind of? But the product is theirs, to keep because the company sent it out, no strings attached. This does happen frequently in terms of.
Yeah, it's happened to me. Yeah.
So what is there a? And I'm asking because I'm trying to get my head around it because I'm not sure what I think right now about this one.
Is that not just on the company if they get burnt by doing that at that point, though? Like if they send something out that's not ideal and somebody does make a video. But
there's still monetary value in terms of payment. I suppose.
There's no obligation, though, is there? Like, there's no payment.
No, there's no obligation, I guess.
Because if it was a one, there wasn't really like there wasn't really an agreement. It was one person just goes, "Here, have this," and the other person's like, "Oh, right, okay." It's not like they've necessarily asked for it, and it's not like they've agreed to have the thing. So if they do make a video, it's more of a casual,
I'd imagine this scenario is actually really quite common.
Yeah, it's certainly for me. I charge for all my videos, and often the product is free and kept as well. But I'm not doing reviews. Okay, so that's a big difference. I'm doing promotional demos of stuff.
Exactly.
Nowadays, frequently I say it's specifically not a review, and make a point of saying, like you'll see in all the descriptions of my latest videos, it says, let me read the specifics because I think it's quite important. And I'm not saying I'm doing it right, but it's as right as I can see it to be, given how everybody's got their knickers in a big old knot about it recently. Because nobody ever used to be worried about this stuff for years and years and years, and now everybody's really got their knickers in a knot about it. As if everybody in print media was kind of amazingly pulling the wool over everyone's eyes for years. It's like, I thought we all knew what was going on here, but apparently not. So I put make informed after all this. So basically, like the 2 Notes opus, I put this video is a demo of the 2 Notes opus. It should not be interpreted as a review of the product. This is in the video description. 2 Notes loaned me the product in order to do the demo and paid me for the video as a source of product promotion, but my thoughts are my own. And that's only there because I say stuff about the product in the video, about how what I like, and I don't say what I don't like because these days there's very little to say. It's not a review. I only ever feature this bit is absolutely true. I only ever feature products on my channel that I like and would use or do use myself. Make informed buying decisions.
Sorry.
And then I put make informed buying decisions by watching as many demo/review videos as you can of the products you're interested in. Happy tone hunting. So I'm trying to make it clear. I thought it was clear anyway. When I buy a product, I watch, like this synth that I've got over here, the Pro 3. I watched literally every video on YouTube about that synth before I bought it. I didn't watch one and then go and buy it. I watched every video. It's like, maybe that's just me.
Okay, so herein lies the problem then. That I think, and Jake brought this up in the Slack channel privately to us, that most products these days are like pretty good. Like there aren't that many absolute awful pieces of crap. So it's kind of very easy to structure and build a channel around only things that either are good or you like, or you can just find the good in it, and everything kind of aligns naturally and the system kind of works. But Jake mentioned that if something comes along that is genuinely awful or shady or whatever it might be, and you kind of get caught up in that, then as a content creator, then that's when the kind of the wheels come off the bus and things break down. And so if you, again, it's like it should also be a bit of a clue to the audience that if you only ever can say, if you're saying this is a review, review, but you are only ever, like 99% of the comments that come about every product is like all just positive and this is good, then is it just become like a bunch of semantic nonsense anyway? Like it's obviously not a review because there's never any kind of like direct comparisons or like sort of actually being, because nothing is perfect. So, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a very bizarre.
I just feel like the whole situation is way simpler than people are making it out to be. If you take money of any form from a company, that company is giving you money because they think you're promoting the product. So by giving you money, the reason they're paying you is because you have influence. So you have figures, i.e. viewing numbers or subscribers, however they measure it, people measure it in different ways, that suggests that by featuring the product on your channel, they will sell more. Why on earth would they otherwise give you the product to do a video with? They're not giving you the product on the 50-50 chance that they might sell some more, or actually their reputation might be destroyed by which these days can happen by the right YouTube channel.
That's what I'm getting at with this with this other third option though.
What, the agreement?
What, of giving them the product for free?
Yeah.
But that costs the company money.
That's what I mean.
What do you mean by no obligation?
In terms of like, it's a very common thing for ex-YouTuber to receive a product for free, no obligation to make a video, just check this out, maybe you'll make a video.
I see what you mean by no obligation.
And and then that's taking a chance, isn't it? It's taken of like, they could say some great things, they could say some negative things. So this third option I think is super common.
There's a bit of
I'm not sure how I feel about that one as much. I'm not.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah. Again, I would put that in the category of, like you said, I think you said this as well, Dan. It's like taking a chance. You know, as a business, you don't know what someone's going to say about it, and you've put nothing in writing. You know, I think one of the things I had a problem with was that there was.
Sorry. I've just this is just occurred to me. But for example, somewhat similar kind of thing goes in within like movie reviews in the entertainment industry. So you have this thing referred to, again, this is all sort of YouTube related, of like the access media, where it's somewhat of a derogatory term for people that will only ever say positive things about certain movies in terms of, because it keeps their early access to seeing future movies and stuff. So, but very often, of course, like reviewers will be provided early screenings for free of said movie to then go and write reviews about it. And those reviews, will be that you don't always get positive reviews, of course, and they are reviews, and they're not paid to make the reviews.
But it is different.
The companies, but they are not paying to watch it's not like Mr. Impartial Movie Reviewer, who's an actual, big influential person on the scene, goes and stumps up their cash to watch the movie, is it?
Receiving benefits, though, you're receiving benefits to some degree, and that,
but it is different.
A bit more longer term, isn't it? Like
it is different because it's a bit like the games industry. So obviously, video games have to be reviewed by all of the major outlets and by the smaller outlets. The smaller the outlet is... Do they buy the
games?
Hold on. So that's what I'm getting to. So the smaller the outlet, the more likely it is, and this goes for print media and online, the smaller the outlet, the more likely it is they have to buy a license for the game. Larger outlets, and again, YouTube and print media, won't have to buy a license for the game. But it doesn't cost anything for the developer. It costs them nothing to send a license to the reviewer. Same with movies. It costs them nothing, physically nothing, to send a license to the.
No, I think you're wrong there. Certainly in the case of movies.
What does it cost?
Maybe in the games, because the R&D, the whole the promotional, for example, sure it is the same with games, but the cost of promoting a movie is almost double
not
what the production budget is.
I'm not talking about promoting. I'm talking about. That's a different thing. The cost of promoting. Let's say GTA 6 comes out next year. The promotional costs are enormous. But it doesn't cost the developer to send Eurogamer or IGN a key to download the game and play it for the review. It costs them nothing. It's like it wouldn't cost us anything to send a key for Solo to download the app onto somebody's phone for review. That's cost us nothing at all. Whereas if we were making a product like this, it costs a lot of money to make the product. So we've spent money to make the product, and then we have to send it to somebody and they get to keep it. That's very different to sending a key to download a
I'm not sure how that is relevant to the ethics of it, though.
Not the ethics. It's relevant to the fact that if I send you this and you keep it, you don't send it back.
I get all that.
It's cost me money as a business. So there's a transaction that's happened that has cost me money. I have to have my budget to send this out to 100 YouTubers is very high. My budget as a game developer or a movie maker to send that film, not on physical, you don't normally send stuff on physical media.
Of course not, but I would be slightly hesitant to be as certain as you are there in terms of the costs of these things. Yes, obviously it's not the same as manufacturing an entire physical product, but I wouldn't want to be so certain and claiming that there's absolutely no costs involved at all for the way how these things are organised and initiated for the review markets of anything. But the point of me bringing it up with the movie stuff and entertainment things was to do more so with the ethics of the situation that we're sort of stumbling around with it, really. But and this idea of somebody being impartial, receiving or viewing or consuming the thing, and then giving an impartial review, and it having not stumped it up for them. The cash up for that experience or that thing themselves. That's what I'm finding interesting in my mind at the moment. That I'm not sure. I don't know what I think about that part of it yet, because I'm trying to equate it to other areas of of the market.
Yeah, it's interesting in the movie and the game world, because these guys do not charge for their reviews at all. Like a really big, Dan, you've come across ACG.
I don't think I have.
So ACG is one of he's got 1.13 million subscribers, and he does game reviews. And his
actual
words,
just reviews, not like long let's plays or anything. Just like
no, reviews is what he's known
okay.
for. So ACG Reviews is the name of the channel.
Right, okay.
And the beginning of every single ACG review, the first thing he says, he has a bit of patter that he does, and then the first thing he says is, I always buy a license for every game that I review, so that my money is on the line just like yours. That, to me, is the only way that you can really say, categorically, with nobody can come back at you and say, maybe you're not impartial. It's the only way you can say that you're doing impartial reviews, is if you go out and buy the product, or you are borrowing the product from a friend, not from the company that makes the product. And everything he reviews, he buys beforehand, stumps his own cash up for it. And that, to me, is, as far as independent, YouTube-based channels go, that's the way to do it. And it should be that way in the guitar industry too.
But I think what's happened, though, is people have stumbled into doing this over a number of years or decade
Absolutely.
or whatever, and it's become this thing where someone has built a business around this, or an idea of what things should be, without necessarily the ethics or the actual market of the whole thing kind of shaking out clearly. And obviously YouTube has done their bit with their kind of pay promotion box, and then all the kind of laws that have come into effect over a little while with it. But it's been a very perhaps organic, messy process where you can very well now imagine or see somebody who's kind of dependent on this model, on the way this is working as a business. So do you think, have you watched the gaming world and the tech world kind of make this shift, and how has that panned out then for people that were in this situation for 10 years
nobody
ago?
In the tech world, you will never see a Jay's 2 Cents or Linus Tech Tips review where they do this spiel at the beginning. It doesn't happen anymore.
What I mean is somebody where their model is, so where they are now not claiming to be, an impartial reviewer that's taking money.
They're not claiming to be. Well, nobody. You just don't see this in the tech world. I mean, I don't remember there being. There was this whole thing of the paid promotion thing. I think came in. My history might not be 100% right here, but I think the tech channels are some of the biggest YouTube channels outside of these kind of like crazy, like, these people who've got millions of subscribers for doing reaction videos. Some of the biggest channels are tech outside of gaming. People who actually, yeah, exactly. People who talk about reviews, nobody talks about demos. You don't do a demo of a RTX 4090 graphics card. They are reviews. They're all reviews. But the products are sent by the companies to them, and these guys make extraordinary money from their YouTube ad revenue and from merchandise and so on and so forth. But nobody is kind of worrying anymore about who's impartial, who's not impartial. They just do the reviews, they just do it. And people know what they're getting, and they trust certain outlets and they don't trust others. And people have their own opinions about who's trustworthy and who isn't. And recently there was an enormous uproar about Linus Tech Tips.
Well, I've been sort of watching that, following
it was done by Gamers Nexus, and Gamers Nexus considers itself more trustworthy than Linus Tech Tips. And the guitar world is now going through this whole thing, but everybody's become absolutely obsessed with it. But the bit that I just cannot wrap my head around, and again, this is not aimed at, there's lots of people doing this, is this idea that a company are abhorrent for telling you to not say anything bad about their product when they've paid you money. A financial transaction has occurred. You didn't put in writing and sign a contract saying that this would be said, this wouldn't be said, and money was at you. You've charged an invoice for a video. That's the usual practice. And then suddenly you expect that the company won't have any right of return on, or right of reply on you saying bad things about their product. I just don't get it. I don't get that logic, I'm afraid.
I think people are just looking to, be like, oh, he's been bought out by, big amps or whatever. You know what I mean? Like big tech. I think one of the things we perhaps haven't necessarily mentioned that might feed into this whole culture a little bit as well is like there's different tiers of this stuff going on. Like if you're, like for instance, like Tom, you're in a place where you are established enough, and you, no disrespect to you, you're probably not like even a big gear guy compared to the other people that it is solely their thing, and like that is like really their, that is their entire channel. It's not really about playing or anything. It's just gear. And so you're in a position where you have a bit more sway, or dare I say it, clout, to use a young person's term. But if there are people that are like slightly kind of lower down in this, all this kind of getting freebies and making sure you don't say anything bad to make sure, you potentially get more free stuff in the future, and then continue, to make content and feed in that sort of strange, kind of cycle. The people that are lower down are probably going to be playing this game a little bit more. But it's not even a game. It's just it's just how the ecosystem works. But I guess people are getting het up about the labels. But do you see what I mean with that? Like,
well, it's sort of having a cake and eat it, isn't it? It's like wanting to be able to earn money from, receive a product, earn money, and then get to say anything you want about it. That seems
exactly
like, I mean, that's an amazing, if you can make that work, and then all power to you. But I just can't see why companies would.
It's the gift horse thing. It's the literal gift horse. It's a literal don't look a time horse in the mouth.
It's the gift horse. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't get into a business relationship with somebody like that. I just wouldn't do it. I just don't understand why it would be a thing you would do. And it just seems to be.
Well, the only I could see is if you really wanted that many eyeballs and you were willing to take that gamble, that risk in terms of if you know that, like, I don't know, there are no press is bad press thing, and I don't know. That's the only way I could see it that happening is but you can't just like not lay all that out up front and then just be sort of upset about any fallout later if it's not agreed on in the first instance.
No, I agree completely. That's absolutely right.
That's the weirdest part.
And again,
for me,
like I want to bring Cordy up because I really respect what he does. Because not that I don't, I don't. At the end of the day, just like the tech industry now, you'll see Linus Tech Tips, and there's a whole bunch of reviews of every new product that comes out, and then there's a sponsored video, and it's a clearly sponsored video. The company is paid just for them to do a video on that, and they have a slightly different feel to the other videos. But essentially, that's what it is. It's reviews. They don't get paid for the reviews. They get paid by the sponsor. They always have a sponsor in the video. And then they sell their own merch. They're not charging for a review from Intel or Nvidia, and the budgets are much bigger. Cordy has a big old sponsorship section at the beginning of every single video that's like, I skipped them now, sorry Cordy, about TrueFire. He has a sponsorship deal with TrueFire. And the reason he has a sponsorship
John
deal
Cordy, who's been on the show before, if listeners don't know, he's got a big YouTube channel now. It's doing really well.
This is where I need to bring these two things together. So the reason Cordy has a sponsorship deal with TrueFire is because he's got the numbers to support it. So the reason that YouTubers feel they can charge for their videos is because they feel they have the influence and the numbers to support it. So instead of charging for every single video, do a sponsorship deal with somebody. Make it clear and upfront. Don't charge for reviews. Stop charging companies for reviews.
What does that allow Cordy to do? It allows him to be as honest as possible. And he's built a lot of integrity and trust with an audience because he does say whatever the hell he wants about things.
If that's your goal, my goal is like, I love Boss as a company, right? I get on with them really well. I've done work for them in the past. Same thing with Laney, same thing with Ibanez. I see my role basically as a promotional tool because I have the numbers for those companies to help them launch products. And there's financial benefits to me for doing so. But it doesn't harm the audience because the audience still learn a lot about the product. And I'm not telling them to go and buy it. And again, this is where you and I differ, BB, and I totally get where you're coming from on this. there are people who are easily influenced and don't understand what the whole thing is, and they will go and buy the product and they might not get on with it, and then they'll blame you for the fact that they bought a product based on some stuff you said about it. And I get that. But I'm not saying at the beginning of every video how impartial I am and how this is a product review and you should trust everything I say as being like gospel and so on and so forth.
That's
I'm
the big
equally
difference. No, I'm not. It's not that we disagree on this. I think what you're alluding to there was the kind of the Anderton's victory thing where we did disagree slightly. But the huge difference there is, you know, as you just said, you're not pretending in any way in terms of being an impartial in those things that you're producing, and it's clear what it is. So the affiliations and everything is all transparent. So I think in certain cases, when that's not clear, when things aren't transparent, then it is perhaps unfair on certain people that might be easily led down a path of spending money where they. Anyway, that's slightly getting off topic because we'll open up another can of worms and argue on something for 20 minutes. I think, you know, certainly the way, you know, in terms of how you feel about that, I'm not a million miles off. Certainly with this latest, and how things have been, as you say, in the last year, I think it seems like it has been a really big thing. But there's also just such like a variety, it's a variance of how people are handling things, and it just, in terms of clicking the paid promotions box or not, it seems to be just random. And, you know, with some big names, like sometimes it's ticked, sometimes it's not. And it's like, even when it's clearly, you know, a paid sort of placement video. So it just seems, as you say, it's kind of shaking out in a bit of a messy sort of organic way. And just guitarists are slowly catching up to, you know, the modern world as we do.
Yeah, well, it's why I'm not saying this person is really immoral or this. I'm not judging anybody morally. I just think that the idea that you would charge companies for reviews is very odd indeed.
It's not so much about the morality, but it's just like the logic and ethic. It's like the logic and it just doesn't make any sense, doesn't it?
It's not how business works.
How the economy is structured, like it just
exactly.
would not make, you know, sense. So unless you've got enough clout and you're that big that you can force it, and you can say, well, if you want the eyeballs on me and I'm so enormous, then I just get to do whatever I want, and you have to agree to that. But then put it in a contract up front. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And then these situations can't occur, and companies know what you're going to do, and they can say no.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't end up in a situation where somebody's gone, oh, we didn't think that was going to happen. We gave you money. Can you not do that, please? You know, that makes perfect sense to me as a company. Perfect sense. Stop harming our brand. We gave you money. You know, it's just the honest appraisal of the situation. If we're all honest, that's why people want their products on YouTube. That's the only reason, to sell more product, not for you to do an impartial review of it and potentially harm the brand. No business wants that. So if you want to do it, stop charging, buy the product yourself, source the product yourself. Don't have any relationship with the company at all.
Now, now you can also, it shouldn't be necessary to actually state this, but you said it earlier on, there's a big difference involved in terms of the cost of a digital thing and a physical product, obviously to the producer of that, but also to the reviewer or consumer. So like it would be ridiculously or difficult or impossible to go and buy all the gear yourself to review it impartially, independently. No one's got that much money to to be able to do that. So it makes sense why and where these alliances occur, because in an ideal world, you know, somebody would be resource, you know, aplenty to then just buy whatever they want and say whatever they want impartially, but who can be buying R8s and Friedmans out their asses for all whatever to impartially review them every week.
But most people are not reviewing R8s and Friedmans. They're reviewing pedals. They're reviewing cheap guitars. They're reviewing modelers. They're reviewing.
Yeah,
Cordy manages it. He manages to do. Cordy's managed to do it from day one.
Yeah, I'm without putting words in his mouth. He might. You know, he has done. I know he's done a couple of. I think he's done. This is the funny thing. Like, he does worry about this sometimes, and he's overly to the point of like shooting himself in the foot from a business perspective. But like, for, you know, as much as he's done for Line 6, I think they've only ever paid him for one video with. It was like not even a pedal. It was like the software thing. So it's a real. I don't want to say he's complete saint and he's like completely never.
No, of course not.
But and I'm sure he wouldn't say that himself. But it does seem from his channel and you know, knowing him a bit, it does seem like one of the most one of the sort of the most honest channels.
I mean, and that's the thing.
And he funds it via other means. Yeah.
If the most important thing about your presence, you know, whoever you are on YouTube, is honesty and impartiality, well, then you need to gauge what you're doing related to how your budget allows you to do that. If that's the most important thing, and if you keep saying it at the beginning of every single video, how impartial and how honest you are, well, then you have to be perfect. You have to make sure that you're not taking money from companies, and if that's the goal. But if you're honest about what your goal is, i.e., I need to fund this YouTube channel, and you cannot fund it any other way, you need to stop telling everybody how honest you are and how impartial you are, and you need to just accept the reality of the situation, which is that you need to do some paid promotional demos for people and be honest about that, and stop worrying about beginning every single video with, you know, I can say whatever I want, and, you know, you can trust me, and X, Y, and Z. You know, it's like, just get on with it, and everybody knows what's going on. It's a promotional tool for companies who are making a bottom line, need to pay shareholders in order to make money.
So just something else that's occurred to me then. What if every video is not the same? So what if some videos you buy the products yourself? What if some videos
exactly
are
what I mean.
Then you would need to have something at the beginning of each video to.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you, sorry, this is what I'm trying to. I'm probably not saying it very well. If your goal is the impartiality, and you see this all the time from lots of YouTubers, they constantly harp on about their impartiality, and they can say whatever they want, and you can trust them. Well, then that needs to be how you conduct your YouTube channel. But if you do the odd video where you do a demo and you don't say that, then fine, you know, and that's how you fund those videos. But that's why Linus Tech Tips has videos that are specifically labeled sponsored videos and videos which are reviews. And those sponsored videos, everybody knows why they're there. They're there to promote a product and to make some money. And or if you're doing your impartial things, have an unrelated product in the video, which is there as an advert, a sponsored advert for that particular video, just like TrueFire is for Cordy. Then do all your honesty spiel, but have the sponsorship at the beginning for a completely unrelated product from a completely different company. And what's great about, and again, I don't want to harp on about Cordy because, you know,
you're just giving him a big head. When he listens.
Exactly. I don't want to do that. But he is a good example of this. He's gone about it because Cordy does place huge emphasis on his channel, and he's done a lot of videos about this topic, that you can trust what he says because he is impartial, because he's not taking money in any shape or form, mostly from the companies, but he is taking lots of money from TrueFire. So if Cordy turned around and said, TrueFire is the best website in the world for guitar players, we all know why he said it. There's no smoke and mirrors going on. But then when it comes to the rest of the video,
down many things like opportunities and whatever because of financial opportunities because he doesn't consider that, you know, to be the top priority in terms of just the absolute dollar value of the channel.
Well, that's it with the. If you really want to be like Mr. Integrity, you would choose your sponsors and your things sort of wisely, wouldn't you? You would craft the whole thing in a way that suits that. If somebody starts coming up, it's a guitar channel, and then somebody starts advertising Manscaped or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was something that's
But in
like...
some ways, that's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really good thing, yeah.
Because we've been approached, many times over the years of people about sponsoring on the podcast, and they've
Ridge Wallet, for example,
turned it down because it's either been like too close to home or not the right deal, or people wanting to say specific things, and it's just never sort of been like worth it. Like why, or even people wanting to, we get things all the time, emails about. So we constantly, you guys don't see this, but like to the podcast email, like saying, X and so-and-so is releasing a product, so-and-so is releasing an album, so-and-so is doing a tour, can you come on and talk about it? Basically wanting a free advertising on the podcast in order
we had
to
it today.
promote the thing. And it's like, well, why would we do that? It's like, what, maybe if I was really interested, if somebody like reached out that I was a big fan of or whatever, and it was interesting for me or us, that's a different thing. But like some random or, unrelated person or product or whatever wants to just come and talk about it on the podcast because they know we've got a pretty decent audience, and it's just free advertising for them and it doesn't make any sense. And so, if we were ever going to like do that and could actually do episodes every week again, and we were to monetize it, it would make sense to have something like sponsored ad reads about something totally different, about like
I see what you're saying.
Sheath boxer shorts, or Squarespace, or something else. Casper mattresses, or something.
Isn't it something that's so hilarious if you listen to any kind of alternative conservative media, which I sometimes find myself doing. I shouldn't admit that on the podcast. I listen to a wide range of media, I should say, but they always have the most random like sponsorship ads. You like, really? Yeah. That's a company that exists and you're advertising it.
Adverts for like divorce lawyers and
like rocket powered garden hose. Like what the hell? What's going on here?
It's like it's usually like gold bullion or like
gold bullion is a big one.
Lord and lady titles.
Yeah. Financial wealth management.
Buy a patch of land on the moon or
amazing. Yeah. I'll take the Lefroy patch, please. It's hilarious. But again, it kind of illustrates the point that for some reason everybody else seems to have worked this out, but the guitar and some of the music community on YouTube is still stuck like 10 years ago, when everybody else, maybe five to 10 years ago, still figuring this stuff out and have really, really got their knickers in a knot about it. And everybody's a villain and everybody's, there's some villains and good guys. And, it's like, guys, chill out. Just chill out. Take the paid product placement video and chill out. That's unless your goal in life is to be Mr. Integrity, just chill out and make the video. It's fine.
Here lies Tom Quayle. He ticked the product placement button and chilled out.
I mean, the other thing
is basically what happens.
At the end of the day, if you're a guitarist and you're watching a pedal demo and you're not using your ears and you buy a pedal just based on what the nice YouTuber says about it, surely that's on you. If you're like,
well, that's how I
this
feel
person's a paid shill, I bought this because of them. It's like, well, you could quite easily have just used your ears and gone, oh, what are the features? If it's a good video that shows what the stuff is, opinions aside of the person in the video, there'll be enough there for you surely to make your decision on. No one's going to tip you over the edge. You see what I mean?
You would hope.
And you do, and the other thing is, stop terminally being online and go down to a shop and try one.
Yep. Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I just don't think this issue is as complex as everybody's tying their knickers in a knot about. I really don't.
People are just looking for villains, aren't they?
They just need to check. Well, there is an element of, definitely with this, everybody loves the drama. Everybody loves to get in the drama and talk about it. And it's like, oh, have you seen what's happened? Oh my God, somebody's died in the guitar industry. Not died, whatever. They love all this, I do too. I absolutely love a bit of drama. But, as soon as it's died down, everybody gets on with their lives. And that's what's happened in the tech industry, basically. So drama all happened and everybody's now gone, oh yeah, let's move on to the next drama. And that's now why the tech industry functions the way it does, where nobody thinks about this stuff anymore. They understand what's going on. There's sponsored videos and there's reviews, and it is what it is, It's
I think, simple. I mean, in certain circles, this kind of stuff has gone on for long enough that people are not bothered. Even like sponsored segments in YouTube videos now. You know, if a sponsored segment comes up and you try and skip it, what'll happen? The bottom of the YouTube video, it'll be like most replayed. Everyone's skipping the sponsored segment anyway. But everyone knows what it is. And I've seen streamers do like sponsored streams where they get X amount of money to like play somebody's game for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And they'll sit there, and some of them will be slightly sarcastic about it. They probably won't absolutely shit on the game, but they'll do what they need to do. And then once the 2 hours is over, they'll just get on with whatever else. And they've fulfilled their thing. They've showed the game off to their audience. They've fulfilled their obligation. They've not made it better or worse by saying this is great or this is not great. If they genuinely think it's great, then they might say something, but they'll just sort of... Probably the polite thing to do is to not shit on it. They're getting paid to, not even promote it, but they're getting paid to play it on stream. That's the agreement for a lot of these guys. So it's like, and I've seen streamers go, "Oh, we've got a sponsored segment on this day, guys," and then everyone knows, and they're like, everyone's in on it, even the audience, they're all in on it. Nobody cares.
Well, again, this is how this works. So there are companies out there who will not send Cordy stuff. I could name a few now, but I shan't. They will not send him stuff because his channel operates on this level of honesty.
It's a maverick.
And that is not, as we discussed already, that is not what these companies want. And they are within their rights to not want it because they have financial implications on the line, and in some cases, with the number of people who watch these videos, heavy financial implications on the line. It can make or break a product. So it's totally and utterly understandable why this happens. And if you repeatedly say, my thing is integrity, you will see the number of people who will send you stuff go down. And that, if you are Mr. Integrity, that you should see as a good thing. But if you're trying to run a financially successful business, you really ought to find another way of monetizing your channel than charging companies for reviews, because that's not going to be a successful business model if you're being honest all the time. It really isn't. So get the Patreon going, get the sponsored videos going, get the merch going, whatever. Get the OnlyFans going. Exactly.
Yeah, get the OnlyFans.
There's lots of false advertising on OnlyFans. Let's face it. Not that I would know.
Do you feel well ranted, Tom? Is that out your system?
Yes.
That was fairly tame, I reckon. You're at about a 6 there. 6.5.
Out of what? 6.
5.
5 out of 7.
5 out of 7. Yeah, and amazingly, I didn't bite once, and we've not descended into a full-on BB Tom.
Yeah, you seem to mostly agree, which is quite disturbing.
Mostly. I mean, we didn't pull it. I thought I was very good. I parked the whole Victor Lee.
I don't really want to talk about this old new. It's wild.
Exactly.
We're on to the next drama now.
Next drama.
August, September, October. We've missed it.
Yeah. So it's old news. Cool. Shall we? Where are we? We've done an hour and 10 maybe. So
can we not rant about something else? I'm enjoying ranting. It's good fun. I'm only joking.
Any further business? So what's on now? So I'm here till Friday, gig the weekend. Tom and I are hunkering down into solo mode for the next few weeks, getting version 2 iOS all tied up. This is probably going to take up the majority of my time towards the end of the year, but hopefully we can still get some episodes done. Dan, what are you doing this weekend and next week?
I've actually got a weekend off, which is probably the reason why I said yes to so much stuff last week, to cram it all in, because the back end of this month is
So you're going to sleep
dry.
all weekend?
Do some more epic Legoing.
I've just about kind of reset my brain juice, but the weekend, man, was rough, really rough. There was a point where I looked down at my guitar and I didn't know how to play an F chord.
Oh, mate.
Honestly, I just looked down and just for a brief second. It wasn't that I didn't know the chord. It wasn't that I didn't know the chord. It was that my decision-making skills, like whatever the, fast twitch brain muscle is that goes, in the moment, this is what you're going to do, just went.
It reminds me of, do you remember, Dan, when I picked you up one time to go to Manchester Airport and drove on the wrong side of the road? So I don't know when this was. We were going to Budapest, where BB is now. And I'd been in the States for like 3.5, 4 weeks. And I picked you up at stupid o'clock in the morning and set off in an estate. So it wasn't like on main roads, but on the wrong side of the road. And you just went, Tom, why are you driving on the... You were very polite about it.
I was just going to say, did I politely point out that you're going to kill us both?
Yeah, basically.
Fucking hell, Quail, get on the right side of the road.
It was very weird.
Yeah, that was weird though, man. I've not really had a scenario like that in quite a long time. So maybe that was a bit of a warning shot.
Get some rest.
But I'm definitely working hard and not smart. I'm not really playing much guitar outside of my obligations. And I'm feeling tired, hands feeling tired. Weirdly, when after those bass kicks, like this part here, like the crotch between the index finger and the middle finger for the listeners.
The finger crotch.
Finger crotch.
Yeah. If you made it this far, comment finger crotch.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Comment finger crotch.
Was like aching from doing from finger banging the bass.
Finger banging the big guitar.
Finger blast.
Jeez.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's fine. It's fine, but I might try and have to make some adjustments at some point, but it's very difficult. But we won't go down that rabbit hole of trying to prop yourself up on your own in today's economy.
What you need is some sponsored vids, Dan.
I've not got the clout, lad. Not got the clout.
I was going to say, should we try and do 3 in a row? Should we try and do one Netflix
I think so.
as well?
Yeah,
I've got a few burning topics I want to bring up that might be helpful for me. So,
can we make it a quartet? That's the question.
Can we get? Can we get 4 of us? I almost asked Cordy to come on this episode, but he is tonight. He's watching Kreisberg in London tonight. In fact, I should have been there really, but
he's been on it in spirit. I've invoked him. Whatever that means.
Invoked. Say Cordy man in the mirror 3 times.
Exactly, yeah.
And he appears with an HX stomp and fuck yeah.
He was on this way, Kreisberg, the other day.
Yeah, he was.
I never thought
6th
I could have
of
asked him to
November,
pick my amp up.
Oh yeah, same venue, yeah.
Yeah.
Jonathan Kreisberg's Dan's amp tech.
Pick up Dan's orphan cub that is just stuck at that venue because the woman won't answer her phone.
Still?
Yeah.
I think that's theft at this
I
point.
think she's taxed. I think you've lost a cub, mate.
Wild cub. Yeah, I don't know. I've got to try and go get that sorted this weekend.
Great amp too. That's not a sponsored segment.
No, I love it, man. Just such a great, just plug in, gig day, play at home, sound. Again, not paid. These opinions are my own. I just wish it was surf green. There's a negative.
Yeah, absolutely. That comment has been passed on, Dan.
Yeah.
More than once.
All right, then. Cool. Okay, then, guys. Well, thank you for joining us once more. This has been a fun one. I'm enjoying these ranty episodes. They're kind of getting.
And thank you once again to Time Horse.
Yeah, Time Horse. It's a bit of a theme. Okay, guys. Speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.